today I'm excited about this conversation because I feel like especially a lot of women in this group, this is going to resonate. A question that you see posted in here a lot and that I get via email and Facebook Messenger and Instagram DMs constantly is, if I'm postmenopausal, do the rules apply? Or what do I have to do differently? That's a big one. That's often how it's worded, is if I've been through menopause, what do I have to do differently? And the spoiler alert, the answer is nothing. The answer is this works for everyone, right? If you've spent years and years doing the up and down yo-yo diet, it might take you a little longer, but this is math and science. This works for everyone. So I'm pumped to have Annette here today because Annette, I'll have to tell, I don't know if this is rude to ask your age because you put it in testimonial. That's why I'm prefacing that. But at the time of her testimonial, Annette was 57. And in her testimonial, she said she felt like she was just destined to be stuck at that weight, at that body shape, because she was postmenopausal, because she was what she considered older. And it has been beautiful to watch her journey and to see it come to light of like, nope, age does not matter when it comes to this stuff. So before I bring Annette up, let me just share real quickly. I'm going to show you her before and after picture, which is incredible. So there's Annette before we met. Oh, that rhymed. And here's Annette's most current picture in here. And you can see, like, look, like the transformation is incredible. And even more than that, hey, Simone, even more than that, her, just her relationship with food, just her whole mindset around this whole thing it's just been a beautiful thing to watch. So let me bring Annette up without further ado. Hi. Can you hear us? Yes.
Yeah. Hi.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Good
awesome.
to see you.
I am pumped about this. I feel like there's a lot of, it's so easy for me. I'm 39. Like I'm in that weird stage where it's like, kids in their 20s think I'm old. Adults look at me and say, don't you dare say you're old. So I'm at that age where like, it's easy for me to say this works at every age. And then, women in their 50s, 60s are like, shut up, you're a child. Like, you don't know, you haven't been there yet. So I love bringing people on who have lived through this and who can say firsthand, like, yeah, like the age part of this isn't a factor. Yeah. So I would love to start the conversation just talking a little bit about before we started working together, before you found Ignite. What were you feeling? What was your mindset at? What had you tried? Where were you at in a large scale?
Well, I was very stuck, and I just felt like I like to work out. That was not a problem for me. I live in an area where I can get out all year round, do a variety of things in my town, and was pretty active. I mean, not, intense, but active. But it seemed like no matter what I did, I could not lose weight. So I was at a point where I tried the new South Beach. And I mean, I don't know if it's bad I don't know what's allowed here, but if anybody wants to.
We have our resident lawyer to keep an eye on things. We're fine.
Okay, good. All right. Anyway, let's just say that didn't work.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the nutrition piece was my biggest stumbling block. I could not figure out, I was so tired of hearing about, do this piece, or when you always say the shakes and the fads and all those things. I had tried them, and I was like, I got to have something that lets me live my real life and is sustainable. And I hadn't found anything that was really sustainable, because I too, like my wine, I love cheese. Oh my gosh, I love cheese. And I met Meredith in a coaching mastermind group, and she just kind of dropped this casually one day. Oh, hey, if any of y'all are just looking to, get in shape or get healthier, I'm in the best shape of my life, and I've just lost 30 pounds. And I'm like, okay, it definitely planted the seed. And I was like, well, she's younger, but still, it's that word of mouth testimony that did it for me. And she's a smart human being. She's not just somebody who's blowing smoke. So you were in the back of my mind. And then the pandemic hit, where I couldn't go anywhere and exercise. And I didn't know what day it was unless the trash cans were down by the street.
Yeah, I don't think we can all relate to that, for sure.
I mean, and so my food habits took quite the dive. I want cheese for dinner. Cheese and beer for dinner? That sounds pretty good. Yeah. So I got to a place where I just was like, something's got to give here. You know, I want to lose weight. I want to get in shape. I want to be healthy going into my older age. I'm 58 now. This is it. This is the time to do it. I want to be healthy. I have 5 grandchildren. I want to be able to keep up with them. I have a daughter who's going to get married someday. She was supposed to get married last fall, and I want to look hot at her wedding. And so I kind of checked you out and just told my husband, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to invest in myself. And I needed something, like I said, most of it was the nutrition piece. Just please, somebody set me straight on what is good and right and proper in terms of nutrition. And I was terrified of bread. You know, don't eat bread, make you fat. And I love bread. I'm Italian. I love bread. So we took that step, and I loved going to the gym. I loved having the workouts sent to me. Today is this, do this, and this, and then do this. You know, because I think for a living, I don't want to have to figure
right. Let's make it as no-brainer possible.
You know? And it's like, eat this much, you know, carbs, fat, protein. And, you know, my weight loss has not been off the charts. I've been doing this since November 1st, and I'm down about 13.5 pounds. But the body changes are astounding. Yeah. I went from a size 8'10", I'm in a 4 now. I look strong. I proudly parade around in a bathing suit.
Yes.
Whether it's at home and take my grandchild to the pool, or just went to the beach today and swam in the ocean. And after about 5 weeks in, my husband took a look at me and he's like, you're really looking good. And he is like, he hates the gym. Hates the gym. So at first he's like, I'm just going to do this macro thing with you. Basically what we would do is I'd drop him off at a park and he would run while I'd go to the gym, and then I'd pick him up. He's like, I'm going to start doing this. Well, tell me about this macro thing. So that was incredible, because as you guys know, when you have, you know, your partner can be supportive, but they're like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do over here, you know? So we've been together now on that journey since early on. And then he started seeing the muscle tone and stuff. He's like, I'm going to join the gym and go to the gym with you. And I'm like,
nice.
Who are you? And what have you done with my husband? And now we've been married 32 years, and we've never really been able to find something like this to do together, because he wanted to do it his way and I wanted to do it my way. And so that has been one of the biggest bonuses of this relationship, and having you as a coach is, he looks incredible. And
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And he's happy and he's healthy. Yeah. He's happier with himself. I'm happier with myself. And, you know, just it's been great.
God. That's incredible. So I want to dive into 2 things that you just said. So first of all, yesterday with Ariel, she had a similar experience than you did. And I find this super fascinating. And I think it's so important for us to understand what the scale is and isn't, right? Like, your scale did not drop monumentally, but to go from a size 8'10" to a size 4, like, that is a monumental change. And if all we're caring about as our measure of success is that stupid number on the scale, we are shooting ourselves in the foot before we start the race. Like, your testimony, Ariel's testimony about You can see it. Like there's no denying looking your before and after picture. It's working. But we're so stuck on this mentality of like, well, I'm not at my goal number on the scale. And the answer is, who freaking cares? Like, look at you, right? That's what we're doing it for our health, to feel comfortable in our skin, to feel confident. Yeah. Is that something, do you feel like the scale is still something you struggle with, or have you accepted the changes?
Yeah. I mean, because I was, you know, grew up in this era of female body types and just, and I think what kind of triggered me recently was a friend of mine. We've always been the same size, and she's down like to her high school weight. And I'm like, I don't know how she does that, but it just got me, you know, in that mindset of, oh, I'm not right, you know. And then I was like, I got over it. Because again, you know, I'm really trying to focus on the health piece of it.
And something Ariella and I talked about yesterday that I think applies to you as well is like in her story, she lost a bunch of weight, but she was always 2 pounds away from that goal number on the scale. And the conversation she and I had is like, look at the way you're lifting. Like the exercising that you're doing is affecting your body composition. We call it a body recomp. So if your main priority is to get skinny, is to get that number a certain way, we can do it. Like you stop lifting, you do a bunch of cardio, we lower your macros, like boom. But the reality is like, that's not how we want to feel. Most of us don't want to feel beanpole. We want to feel strong. We want to feel confident in our skin. And with that comes muscle definition and a slightly higher number on the scale, which who cares? Because we feel the way we want to feel.
Yeah. It was interesting. I took my grandson to the pool. So it was the first time I had gone swimming in over a year because of the pandemic. And normally swimming was like, for me, I can not die in the water, but I don't look, you know, I don't look real good. And I swam, and it was like, oh, this is easy.
Wow,
I'm gliding through water. It's like I came home, I'm like, Mark, as my husband said, I said, you gotta go swimming. It's amazing, you know, because I'm so much stronger. It was effortless. I'm like, wow, and that's the thing, right? Is my overall kind of just going through life is so much easier now because we're not fatigued all the time. I'm fueling my body correctly, and and I love to lift weights. I've always liked that because I see results quickly. I like to see that, you know, oh, I'm getting to add more weight. So,
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. And the energy, I mean, you've heard me say this endlessly in the time we've worked together. To me, the energy is what this is about, right? Like you mentioned your kids in the beginning and your kids, like our energy is how we show up in the world. And there's nothing more important than being able to show up with that confidence, with that energy, because that's what our kids and our grandkids are going to emulate. If we're dragging through the day, that's what we're telling them life is like. But when we show up with this abundance of energy, that's what we're demonstrating for them.
Right. Well, just keeping up with them.
Yeah, and that.
Their age is 3 to 9, and
man,
yeah,
we need energy for that.
It's like,
man.
So yeah.
So I want to talk about Mark. Is Mark your husband?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I love this story about you guys because I would say at least 3 times a week I get messages from women saying, how do I get my significant other to do this? How do I get my husband to do this? How do I get my wife to do this? And my answer every time is you don't. Right? Like as human nature, our human nature is we do not want to be told what to do. I don't care if you're in middle school or an adult. The second you say you have to, we're going to push back. And because we are pleasure-seeking creatures, when we see other people leveling up, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, we naturally think, what are they doing? I want that too. And the conversation I always have is you don't. You just do you. And what's going to happen naturally is they're going to start to get interested. And when they get interested, it's not a have to, it's not a should, it's just a, I wonder if, what if I tag along here? And it sounds like that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. About 5 weeks in, he started on the macros, and a couple weeks later, he's like, I want to go to the gym with you. And it's just been beyond great. Yeah. I feel like, go ahead.
How much time would you say, like when he started tracking macros and then he went in the gym, were those like back to back, or was that like a gradual progression?
There were a few weeks
Yeah.
I'm looking at him.
Can't hear what she's saying.
Oh, okay.
He's listening to all this.
I was about 5 weeks in, and he started doing macros, and maybe another 5 weeks or so. And he lost some weight, and he was like, I can get this definition too.
Yeah.
I think feeling better about himself and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he got very interested and started Googling, and he found these couple of guys that he just loves to listen to, and he's found his happy workout that he likes to do. And so
That's awesome.
it's funny because I have become quite the evangelist, but I don't want to be obnoxious, but we took a trip from Tennessee to Maine, and we broke it up and stopped. We took 3 days because it's a long trip. Mm-hmm. And we stopped at a friend in New Jersey, and she was showing me her apartment complex in this weight room that they have, lovely fitness rooms, 2 of them. And I said, oh, wow, we may work out while we're here. And she said, well, I'll come down with you. She's very unhappy with where she's at right now physically. And she's just been through a lot. And so she came down and joined us, and I showed her a couple things to do. And she was asking a lot, I was good. She just asked a lot of questions. And so I explain a little more and explain about, how muscle increases your resting metabolism. So, and it gives you definition, you get quicker results. She's like, yeah, I've been riding my exercise bike. I'm like, yeah, that's good. It's good for your heart and your lungs. But, I crack walnuts with my ass now. So that's a goal, baby.
I love you.
By the end of the day, I had ordered her a food scale and your book. And she texted me and said she went back to the gym and did her workout. Yeah. So, just dropping that stuff in.
Yeah.
And I'm here if you need me. Ask me any questions.
I love it.
And she's not on Facebook, so I wasn't quite sure. So I just, hopefully, if she chooses to move forward, she's got your book.
Yeah.
Reach out to you.
That. Meredith is cracking up. I don't think you can see the comments. I knew she was going to crack up.
I love you too, Meredith.
I'm reading you before and after just to put this in your testimony. Oh my gosh. And the thing I love about hearing these stories, the reason I asked about how long between Mark's nutrition and gym is, every Monday in the Facebook group, we do our Monday momentum.
Oh yeah.
And that is what it's about, right? When we go into this, and again, this is where we're so brainwashed from this industry of like, okay, it's day 1. Today I'm going to start eating clean. I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week. And we try to do this major life overhaul, and it's too much. Our caveman brains start freaking out saying too much change. But when we start the little things like nutrition every day of the week, right? If someone says nutrition or workouts, it's always nutrition. We're always going to eat every day. We're not necessarily going to move every day. And we don't have to work so hard because the simple act, he's such a shining example of this. When you get your nutrition in check and you start seeing those results, naturally our brain's going to go, wow, like I'm feeling pretty good. I'm looking pretty good. I wonder what happens if I add exercise to this. And it becomes such a snowball down the hill instead of trying to force this major life overhaul.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that.
One of the biggest things for both of us is, especially me, I mean, because he was probably under eating, as was I, except for on the days when we were like, let's have beer cheese for dinner, So you've given me my metabolism back. Back when I was your age, I ran a marathon, and then following that, I got very, very sick. And in my younger years, I was active. I used to run. I was able to keep my weight under control and eat, but I got Lyme disease. And it starts with like a lot of achiness, feeling very fluish. And it was at the point where I would get my kids to school and I would come home and I would lay on the couch and I couldn't move. And it was awful. And so that was my first like big weight gain where I put on probably 15 pounds and there was just no getting it off. And then I started probably like the, you know, all the crazy. So, and it truly at 57, I thought, oh, well, I'm just old and fat and I'm not going to, you know, don't have any metabolism because that's the way it is, you know. Everybody says.
You're not alone in that thinking. A lot of people think for an age like that's it. Your metabolism just shot to hell and we're done here.
Yeah. So, and I can say having you offering my direct support to me has been a huge help. And then having the group support, you know, chiming in and everybody just jumps right in and says, oh, you got this, or, oh yeah, you know, it's so great to go in there and see, you know, so-and-so had a bad day. And I was like, okay, you know, and I can support them and they support me.
Yeah.
I was going somewhere with all that. Oh, so I contacted you because I went away for 2 weeks in June and I was freaking out. This place I was going was going to be like not macro friendly. And you talked me off the ledge, you know, and I came back from that 2 weeks, didn't track a macro. Just didn't even track calories. I probably gained the scale when I got back was maybe 3 pounds over. It was where I left. It came right off. I hit the macros, came right off.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, I think I have metabolism again. So now here I am. I reached out to you again for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We're tracking our macros on the days that we're just hanging out. On the days that maybe we have a guest or, you know, we're going to be doing extra, we're just going to shoot for our calories.
Yeah.
But, you know, the whole thing is the mindset thing was a huge piece of why I chose you as well, because I remembered when I trained for the marathon that 98% of that was mental training, that mind strength and mental strength. And that's everything in life.
Yes.
And so I needed that again. I was just like, I can do hard things and I need that mental strength back. I'd lost it. And I think I told you that now I'm building a business and it's overflowing into that. Yeah. And then, like you said, the snowballs aren't just with the weight and the strength and fitness. It snowballs laterally into other areas of my life as well.
Yes, especially, I mean, when you're a business owner, you are your business. Your energy is your business. And this is where, in fact, Ariel and I talked about this as well, because she's a small business owner. Like, if you are dragging and you are not comfortable in your skin, there is no world in which your business is going to be successful, because that's the energy around your business. Right. So it's not it is in fact, Meredith talked about this too. It is not a coincidence that when you started getting your health together, that's bleeding into your business and elevating that, because it is all the same circle of life that we're living in right here. It's all connected.
Yeah. Best choice. Best choice that I made.
I want to talk a little bit about, in these interviews, we don't really like get into the nitty gritty of macros, but I think it's important for a lot of people to understand when you said that you were under eating. So this is very interesting. In fact, today, I don't see anyone on the call who I was doing this for, but I was setting macro plans for my elite clients because I do their plans for them. And I was just having this conversation that was the situation you were in. So as everyone here knows, because you guys have hung out before, the first thing we do is we track our food for a week. We don't try to change anything. We just eat and track. And then we look at those averages. And the reason we do that is because we want to meet your body where it is, right? You guys have all heard me say this a million times. So when you came to me and we looked at your averages, you were super low. I remember you were eating like maybe 1,000 calories. I think it was even under that. And the conversation we had is that it sounds so counterintuitive, but what we were going to do is raise your calories. And I, I would never guarantee something in my business, but I said to you, like, without guaranteeing, I am telling you, you're going to lose weight by raising your calories. And it sounds so counterintuitive, but the reason for that, and I think it's important for people to, you guys have heard me say this, but now you're looking at someone who's lived it. There were a few things going on under the surface. The first is what Annette's talked about, that when your calories are that low, they're not that low all the time. what's happening is they're that low most of the time. And then there's days where our body just can't take it anymore. So we way overeat and we overdo it because we've been depriving. And if you look at the data long term, you're no longer in a caloric deficit because low, 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 super high, low, low, low equals your averages are going to be higher. And the second thing, as we've been talking about, is your metabolism. Like your metabolism slows down as you get older, but the thing that's harder on your metabolism is this. It's the ups and downs. So even though we're raising your calories, we're keeping them consistent. And we know that our body loves consistency. So not only did you lose weight while eating more food, but what you just spoke about that you experienced going away, putting on a couple of pounds from vacation, we can just bounce right back because our metabolism's on fire. And I mean, that's the goal. The goal is to eat as much as possible while losing weight, right?
That was huge. Yeah. Yeah. And to not have to worry and freak out and obsess, you know, that's, don't have to be afraid of food.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that simple statement is the be all end all, right? Like when people say to me, it sounds like a lot of work to track macros. I wish there was a way to categorically tally up how much energy we spend worrying about food, feeling guilt, feeling shame, worrying about if our pants fit, thinking, oh, I smelled pizza last night and I feel like if we could bottle up that energy and weigh it against the time and energy it takes to track macros, there is no comparison.
Yeah.
Right? Like that feeling of release when you get to let all that go is just, there's nothing to describe it unless you've done it.
Yeah. And the macro thing, you just kept saying it's a skill. It's a skill. And I would jump in and folks would help me. And especially now with my husband doing it with me, we feel like we pretty much got it. So I can get these amazing subs up here that I cannot get where I live. And so we got one, a large today. And so we're looking up the macros. But we did it and we found something that was probably the closest thing. It's a New England original Italian sub. It's
nice.
Bread and this, God, swimming in olive oil, and it's just incredible. Yeah. And you know, like I told you, I'm going to eat lobster. We looked up lobster about a month ago. Oh, look. Hardly anything. It's really great, you know, and I'm not the kind that needs a lot of butter. So
that's amazing. Yeah. Meredith put your quote on here that you don't have to be afraid of food. And that's what we hear you describing. You're on vacation right now. And cool. Like you're going to enjoy everything that vacation entails and you don't have to be afraid of it because you know you're in control. You know, when you get back, you know the magic key. There is a magic key and you know it. You're just going to get back and get right back to it and you'll be totally fine.
Right. So it's totally worth putting the work in to learn the macros. It feels like, I feel like I have a secret. Like a secret weapon.
That's what
the keys to the kingdom. Exactly. Yeah.
So here's my final question for you. As we're in this transition period, the enrollment for Ignite ends this Friday. This is by far the biggest group we've had in Ignite. I'm so pumped about the group coming in. So there's going to be a lot of people who are nervous right now. Like they're watching this. They're like, what did I just sign up for? I've never done this before. When it comes to this whole new approach to nutrition, and there's a learning curve and it's learning a new skill, what would you say to people new to this? Now that you're kind of on the other side and you have the keys to the kingdom, thinking back to baby macro Annette, who is new to learning this, what do you say to people who are feeling a little fear around this new skill?
You're going to be okay because Rachel's got you and Meredith and all the other folks in the group. And it's the best decision I made. And I'm in an old Ignite. So I'm in round 3 and I'm going to do round 4. And then we'll just see what we do after that. But I was like, I'm going to give myself a whole year. This is important enough to me that I'm going to pay for this and I'm going to get the support. You know, I need that. I know myself pretty well by now. And I know that I was going to need the first 2 to, and I don't want to stop. Yeah. I don't want to, I just don't want to stop. And I really appreciate and need the support. I can do it now, you know, but it's just best best decision I made.
I love that. And yeah, I feel like there's different stages to it, right? Like in the beginning, that support is so key because it's what helps us from giving up. Like we talk about in here, accountability is the first step. That's how we stick with it. And then you get to the point where you're at, where it's like, I know how to do this. I don't need the support to keep me going. I need the support because it feels good. Like it feels good to have conversations with like-minded people who understand this language, because we're speaking a different language. Most people don't know what we're talking about, and having a community is just killer.
And it really, you know, when I was able to jump in and help somebody else, that felt really good because I received a lot from you and the group getting started. But yeah, I can't say enough good.
I love it.
It's been life-changing.